Yeah, so I'm 14 shows in on my road to finish everyone.
That's crazy. Not crazy, but just like I would never have thought to like say, "Hey, I want to watch all these shows."
I'm a sick guy. I'm sick in the head, man. It is. The older ones take the most out of me. I just watched Spider Woman
Mm.
from '79. it's, it's so. It's very 1979.
I was just thinking about Spider Woman this morning and how do you know the backstory of Jessica Drew Spider Woman?
Mm,
Like the publishing story.
not really. I only know the one from the show, basically.
Pretty much so. Like DC, I forgot what character it was, but DC had a character. Um, I think it was like the whole Shazam Captain Marvel thing, maybe.
Mm,
Uh, and so I know I think it's a different character, but DC and Marvel had the same character, a name,
mm,
and then I think DC sued, and then so Marvel was like, "All right, we won't use the name," but then Marvel heard that DC was going to make a Spider Woman,
mm.
and so then they quickly
Just rushed it
created,
out.
yeah, and so I was thinking about her because I was like, the Jessica Drew Spider Woman seems like, yeah, they just needed to slap the name on somebody,
Mm,
but that wasn't going to be like her initial like name.
yeah.
And then because we keep getting other Spider Women who
Mm.
are more closely tied to, not tied to, but like the powers are more related to Spider Man,
Mm.
but like hers are not Spider related, so it's like,
Yeah, it's even in the show. Like, so in the show, she got bit by like a radioactive spider that was in her father's lab,
mm,
and then she was allergic to something in the spider bite, so she starts dying, and then her dad tries to cure her, and whatever cure he uses makes the gives her her spider powers. It saves her, gives her her spider powers, but she doesn't like. I don't. You don't see her crawl on any walls or anything. She flies for some
yeah,
reason. She she has like just her powers in the show are so ridiculous. Like, and she shoots everything out of her fingers.
yeah.
I hate it so much. I hate it.
Like there's no like, it just, yeah, it just bothers me that like her suit. I like her suit. It just it's not, and I'm not looking for anybody to be like a woman copy of Spider Man or anything,
No.
but like at least other Spider Women have suits that are very similar to,
Mm-hmm.
you know, his suit, or you know, at least have certain things that kind of like relate to it, or you
Yeah.
can like pick it out. Like the only thing on hers is like really kind of the eyes, but
Mm-hmm.
that's about it.
It's yeah. I don't like it. It was not a. It was still better than Silver Surfer. It was still better than a handful of shows that I've watched, but it was not good. It wasn't great. So I went from that to now I'm on Spider Man, and then I'll do Spider Man and His Amazing Friends after that.
I was on the email, our Google Docs the other day,
Yeah,
the drive, and I seen like your listing of all of it, and
yeah,
I was kind of going through it, and I was trying to figure out like, because you had like a number next to each thing,
yeah,
and I was trying to figure out if that was like a rating or like,
yeah. That was my. I was trying to figure out how to do on Google Sheets to where like to set up a ranking
mm,
system. So like if I watch a show and then I think that that should be at the number 4 spot, then it moves everything down. But I couldn't figure it out.
mm,
So I have like little excerpts that I've been writing on each one after I finish it.
mm.
So whenever I do the video for it, because it's going to be too long of a podcast, um, I can uh, just have a little excerpt for it, and then after I'm done with all that, then I'll put the rankings on
Mm.
the Excel sheet. But yeah, it's some of, and then I started watching Wolverine and
Wolverine and the X-Men.
Wolverine and X Men. So I make it like 5 episodes in, right? I watch a couple in the morning, I was like, all right, I'm gonna take a break, play with Zara for a little bit. I come back like a few hours later to start it back up again, and none of the episodes are there. They took all the episodes away, and there's only episodes 14, 15, and like 26 or something.
What the hell?
And I can't figure out what it is. I've even tried to hit up Disney Plus on Twitter to figure out what the hell's going on, and they have no answer for me.
When was this?
Last week.
I did. I read something about like some episodes not showing up on something, but I don't remember exactly what shows they were talking about.
It pissed me off. That show started okay too.
I never finished that show.
Yeah, it was pretty good. But let's see if they brought the episodes back yet. Oh, now they're back. And when I went on Twitter, there was like 4 or 5 other people that were like, yeah, the same thing's happening to me. Like, I can't find any of the episodes. The Twitter page was like, oh, go to this link and chat with the live chat, and then they should be able to help you. So I go to the live chat. They're like, oh, you should just delete the app and then reinstall it. Like, man, I've grown up in this this world of technology. You don't think I've tried turning it off and turning it back on again, or deleting it and putting it back? You guys just took like 30
the issue
episodes.
isn't that the episodes aren't playing.
No.
The issue is that they're just not there.
They're non-existent. I can show you the screenshots. You guys went from like 32 episodes to 3. And they're not even like it's 14, 15, and 23. What do I do with that? It helps me none. Welcome back to the Webheads podcast, guys.
Welcome back. Welcome back. Welcome back.
That was beautiful.
Played on guitar for you guys.
Welcome. 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 Chappelle Show. Hello, hello, hello.
All right.
That was a deep cut for all you older fans out there.
What have you been up to?
What have I been up to? Just been, coasting, thinking about life.
Just living life.
I was thinking about, I'm going to Vegas in October.
Nice.
We're going to that, I forgot what it's called, that festival. It's supposed to be like where all the emo bands.
Okay.
Yeah, we're going to go to that.
Dude, just you and Danny?
Yeah.
She's really into that kind of music, huh?
Yeah. Yeah, she grew up with that stuff, so gotta support my girl.
You're an emo girl.
It should be fun, though. It'll be first time in Vegas. So, yeah, I'm excited to kind of see what's out there and explore. And
Yeah. It should be fun.
yeah.
Yeah, I've never been out there either. I am not a big fan of losing money.
I'm not a big fan of spending money. I'm kind of just like, Vegas.
Yeah. So that's most of the reason I haven't gone out there. And I'm not like a big club kind of person.
Yeah.
So that kind of eliminates most of what's happening out there. And buffets also are not a big thing on mine, unless it's at Disneyland.
Yeah. I mean,
But even then.
I think I want to play like the coin slots, maybe like 25 cents or whatever they got.
Yeah, everybody says if you're ever going to go to gamble anywhere, it's just you take out a certain amount of money before you go. That's all you use.
Yeah.
And you win anything, that goes in a different pocket. And you just keep playing off of whatever you started with.
I think I'm going to start taking like $20 out of each paycheck up until then. And that might be like, or like $50 or something. That might be like my play money.
Yeah.
try to win big.
Yeah.
What was I gonna tell you? I forgot. Probably nothing important.
Yeah, it'll come back up, I'm sure. I just came back from Disneyland.
Nice.
That was I was going to say a fun little trip, but we were there for a week.
I want to be gone for a week.
We left on a Saturday and came back on the next Saturday. So the first couple of days we just chilled in the hotel room, went around the city, grabbed some food and stuff. And then Mondays when we went into the park. It was cool. It seems like 5 days at Disneyland should be way too much. But it wasn't bad. It gives you the chance to kind of spread everything out.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like, I for me, I would, like, I mean, you had a different experience, but, like, if you're able to, get on what you want to get on in the first day or two or something, and then you just have the rest of the day just kind of chill and not rush around and just hang out.
Yeah. And because we've been there so much, it's like, if we hit everything, we hit everything. If not, then I know we'll be back.
Yeah.
Like, when they had the old annual passes, it used to show you how many days you've gone into the park.
Yeah.
And for, like, I want to say those 4 years that we had one before they cut them off, I think it said that total we spent, like, 97 days in Disneyland. So over 3 months in Disneyland. So yeah, I'm never going to trip off of just like missing a ride or two when we go. So it's mostly just Ferial shopping and then me getting on rides that she doesn't want to get on by myself.
I always go to Disneyland with like, I go there with the mind of a kid because I want to buy so much stuff.
Yeah.
Just because I think it would be cool to like have set up in the room or something.
Yeah.
But then I remember I don't have that space, and I'm just like, this sucks. Like those toy box figures that they have.
Yeah.
I always want to buy those, just because it'd be cool to have like just that specific figure.
Yeah.
But then I'm just like, I have nowhere to put this. Like, even if I just wanted to display like just the figure itself, there's really nowhere for me to put this.
No, I finally got the Iron Man gauntlet, the one that holds the drink.
Oh, okay.
I finally got that. Last time I went there, I did the thing that I tell myself never to do. I was like, oh, we're here 3 days. I don't want to carry it around all day today. I'll get it tomorrow. And then I didn't see it for the next 2 days. So I was like, well, shit, I'm never going to get it now. And then this time we went, every stand that had it had like 80 of them every day. Like all 5 days they were there. You go mobile order it through the app. So I was like, all right. I still waited. I still didn't get it till like the 4th day. I was like, all right, let me get it now.
I saw on Instagram they had those the new popcorn buckets, the electric light parade.
Yeah.
And I seen those. I was like, oh, that'd be cool to have. But I'm thinking like, where do you even put that? Like people who collect just popcorn buckets, like where do you place these things? These things are huge.
I don't know. I don't know.
Because I was thinking about the TIE Fighter one that they had like a few years back. And that's like a full like TIE Fighter.
Yeah, it's big. It's at least like 12 inches.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit more than that. And it's the one that the Main Street Electrical Parade, the one that just came out, has to be at least like 12 inches wide, at least a foot tall.
Yeah, and there's 2 of them.
Yeah. Yeah, one of them's a sipper. Like, I don't know where you have to dedicate a whole room to that kind of stuff. Even I have like the loft in my house that I use to put all my stuff up, and I still don't have enough room for it. So it's like I popcorn buckets I can't buy anymore unless it's one that I just really, really want. I don't do it. Yeah. The gauntlet I only bought because I knew I had a specific place for it on my desk, and it fit perfect right there.
Do you have the Infinity Gauntlet one? Or do you have the Nano Gauntlet? Because I think the Nano Gauntlet is like for your right hand, and then like the Infinity is for your left one, or vice versa.
Then I have the Nano Gauntlet one.
Okay.
Yeah. And of course, my hand's too fat, so I could squeeze. I could get my fingers into like where the finger part goes, but not all the way. And I was like, I told Ferial, I was like, oh, maybe it's just not meant to like. You just put your arm in there and just drink it. And then she's like, oh, that's crazy. Let me see. And she puts her hand in there, turns her fingers all the way around. She's like, "Oh, my finger's fitting here perfectly." And I was like, "Oh, okay, that's cool." And then Zara was playing with it later in the day. She just has her whole hand in there, and she's just messing around with it. It's like, all right, guys, you don't have to. It is cool though, because the stones light up.
Oh, do they?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. So now I have that for Valentine's Day, I think it was. Ferial bought me the Lego Infinity Gauntlet, the Thanos one. So I built that, and it's been pretty damn fun.
I was hella tempted. Speaking of Legos, I was hella tempted to buy that Daily Bugle one.
Yeah.
And I was like, ooh, I'm gonna buy it. But like last minute, I was like, where the hell are you gonna put, like, even if I were just to keep it in the box, where am I gonna put the box? There's nowhere where I can keep that.
I wanted to buy it at first, and then I saw the price, and I was like, nah.
How much was it?
It's like $380.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I was like, nah, I can't do that. And then I went back to wanting it again. And I was like, but then if I build it, I don't have anywhere to put that.
Yeah.
And then Zara's going to mess with it. And then if she she breaks that thing apart, I'm going to be pissed. And I was like, nah, it's not the because I wanted that, and I want the Disney castle. That thing's hella big, but it's hella expensive. It's like $400. I think it's like $450 or something.
Damn. I wanted that Star Wars, the AT-AT. That one thing, I think that one's like $700 or $800.
Yeah, one day I'll do it. Well, I need a space that I can block off where I know Zara can't get into it.
Yeah. And
it's just a room that I can use for whatever I want to use it for. Not like the loft, because people have to walk past it.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's not going to work out right there. One day I'm going to get it. Both. Now I'm going to get the Daily Bugle one too. And then hopefully they come out with something before then.
Yeah, buy it soon before they stop making, and then it skyrockets.
Damn. Shit, now I have to. If you know what, if Vivi would just let me cash out finally, then I would just fucking do it. I've had a nice chunk of money sitting in there, and they won't let me cash out because it's still in beta. How long is it gonna be in beta, guys? Figure it out.
Does it appreciate?
No.
Oh, it just
sits there at whatever price it is.
That sucks.
And I keep getting notifications saying that PS5s are on sale every other day, and I was like, well, okay, well that would be nice, but all right, screw Vivi for right now. So this week we got a story called "The Death of Jean DeWolff."
Jean DeWolff. She
is a New York City cop who works with Spider-Man a lot.
Hey, yo, Spider-Man, I got a crime down here.
I got crime. I can't find any of my officers. Can you help out?
Yo, sure. Good guy over there.
I'll buy you a slice. so you wouldn't say that. I guess from Spider-Man's perspective, you wouldn't say that these two are great friends, but they work okay together. They can communicate with each other, especially with his past with the cops and how shitty they treat him. From her perspective, she's pretty cold. Again, she talks to him, she's cordial to him, but she tries to just keep it. I'm a cop, you're Spider-Man. It's just a working relationship here. And she is kind of a generational cop. She's her stepfather was a cop. I believe her actual father was a cop as well. Her mom is not a fan of her being a cop because of how dangerous it could be. But this is the story of the death of Jean DeWolff.
Wow.
Yeah. And it is a great story. Yeah.
Let's get into it.
All right. So like I said, this is a story of...
all about how
Jean got turned upside down.
In the grave.
She's turning. All right, so here we go. So After Jean's parents got divorced when she was younger, her brother left with her dad and she stayed with her mom. Some years later, her mom married patrolman Carl Weatherby, and they now had a happy little family again. She grew up to become captain of the police force, all in an attempt to gain Carl's approval, all while her mother worried sick to her stomach that she would even become a cop to begin with. This story starts with the death of Jean DeWolff.
Oh, we're starting with the death.
Yes. Peter, Spider-Man.
Can we... Let's decide now.
Yes.
Are we going to call him Spider-Man or Peter?
We'll call him Spider-Man.
Okay.
So, Spider-Man is being a pervert. And he's taking cleavage shots. Taking pictures of women's cleavage. And he's telling himself that he's going to sell them to the Daily Bugle, knowing that he's actually just going to hang them in the Red Room.
Yeah, Jameson wants these.
Oh, yeah. JJ's going to love these ones. And then he runs into one of Aunt May's tenants at her. So at this point, Aunt May's running a boarding home for like older people. And he runs into one of Aunt May's tenants. His name is Mr. Popchick. And Mr. Popchick, who has a wad of cash from a check that he just cashed, Spider-Man tells him, hey, you need to be careful, and he walks off. And
mind your own business.
Yo, Spider-Man, mind your business, man. You see this cash? Screw you. I'm going to get a slice.
Like, imagine how weird that'd be. You're just walking by. There's a man just like 10 feet in the air on the wall, just staring at you and he's like, hey, be careful.
Be careful.
Like, what the fuck? Get away from me.
Yeah, what's your problem, man?
Nothing. Just be careful. That's a lot of cash.
Okay.
Don't want to get stolen.
You know, just mind your business, man.
You know how many slices I'm gonna buy with this?
I got $40 right here. You know how many slices I get with this? You know how many beers I can get with this? What's wrong with you? And you have to do all that while just staring up at a weird angle to talk back to this guy. So I did say that we were just going to call him Spider-Man this whole time, but I guess it kind of does help to differentiate because he was just Peter here when he was talking to Mr. Popchick.
Okay. Yeah, that does make a difference.
So Peter tells him just be careful with all that money, and he just walks off. Seconds later, his spider sense starts going off, and when he turns around, Mr. Popchick is getting jumped by some street thugs, and they stole all of his money. So he should have listened. Peter runs off, and he gets changed, and he is Black Suit Spider-Man. And he comes out, he catches the thugs, he beats them to hell. And then just as he's finishing beating their ass, the cops show up, and they throw Spider-Man in the back seat.
He let them?
Sorry. They threw the thugs in the back seat.
Okay, I was like...
Yeah, but they pulled the cops. One of the cops pulled Spider-Man to the side, and he asked, "Did you hear what happened to Jean?" And Spider-Man, always being the jokester that he is, he cracks a few jokes before the cop says, like, "No, like this isn't funny. She's dead." And he just gets like this shocked look on his mask, and yeah, so he's like, "No, she's dead." So we cut over to a man with a wet mop of a haircut and glasses walking into a church for a confession. And then we jump over to the Daily Bugle, and J. Jonah Jameson and Robbie are there talking about a headline for the day's paper. And the headline says, Captain Jean DeWolff dead. A few minutes later, a man named Reverend Jackson Tolliver comes in, and he's looking for Robbie. He wants to talk. Out of nowhere, we cut back to Spider-Man. And he heads over to the police department, and he's looking for the cop that's in charge of Jean DeWolff's case. But when he gets there, the rest of the cops say, "Oh, he just left for the day. He's gone home." But they tell him who it is. It's this guy called Detective Carter. So Spider-Man, again being who he is, he decides that he just wants to talk to Detective Carter. So he swings through the city to try to find him. And then he finds Carter on his way home, and he starts asking questions. How did she die? And then Detective Carter says, oh, she was shot in the upper right chest with a double-barrel shotgun at close range, and for some reason her badge is missing. So Carter says, the whole squad is on the case, and the only reason I'm talking to you, Spider-Man, is just because I know that Jean really liked you. I know that she always talked about you. She always said that you helped us when we were working on cases. So that's the only reason I'm giving you any of this information. So across town the next morning, we see Daredevil in full costume running to catch his ride to work. This man is in full costume running down the street trying to catch a bus for work. And he doesn't catch the bus, but he somehow catches a helicopter.
What the hell?
Yeah. He finds a helicopter, catches the helicopter, and makes it into that just before the helicopter takes off. I don't know whose helicopter this is, but why did you just let this man get in?
So he's inside the helicopter?
Now he's in the helicopter. And then, so later on in that day, we see Matt Murdock, the other side of Daredevil, doing pro bono work for the three thugs that beat up Mr. Popchick.
Mm.
And he's a good lawyer, so he gets them released with no bail, and they have to show up on a later court date. After court, the judge, which is Judge Rosenthal, and Matt are going to head to lunch. When Rosenthal says, oh, hold on, let me use the bathroom first. Just wait for me. So Matt's in his office, just searching through the office, just walking around basically, just picking random things up, just being nosy in his friend's office. But he also feels that, like, he feels a presence of somebody else in the office, but he doesn't hear anybody. He doesn't, like, nobody's saying anything.
He doesn't detect anybody.
Yeah, but he knows someone is in there. So he's snooping around some more, and he yells out. He's like, who's here? Who's there? And then someone finally answers, and they say, oh, my name is Sin Eater. So, yeah, he says, I'm Sin Eater, and this guy has a sawed-off shotgun, and he's ready to kill. And he asks Matt, he's like, what are you? And when Matt says a lawyer, he can hear Sin Eater's heartbeat start to go faster and faster. And then all of a sudden, Sin Eater pulls the trigger, trying to shoot Daredevil, or Matt Murdock. And Matt ducks the bullets, and he runs behind the desk, and seconds later, Judge Rosenthal comes in wondering, like, what the fuck was that? I hear gunshots. I just went to the bathroom. And then Sin Eater doesn't hesitate at all, and he just shoots the judge. Sawed-off shotgun, judge dead now. And that was the first part.
Whoa. Death already.
Tons of death already. So, the second part, Matt Murdock first met Judge Rosenthal in law school. He was giving a lecture in one of Matt's classes. After class, he went to speak to Judge Rosenthal about how he was wrong on the subject that they were speaking on in class. And then ever since that day, the judge wanted to talk to him about why he thought he was wrong. And they talked almost every day after that, became really good friends.
Mm.
And then that was the first day they said hello to each other. And today is the day that they're going to say goodbye to each other. So after the gun went off, it hit Judge Rosenthal. Multiple people came running into the room wondering what just happened. As they all file in, they see him dead on the floor. Matt sneaks out behind the big crowd, hoping to stay on the trail of Sin Eater. When Matt gets outside, he's doing his best to stay close, and while he's going down the street, he can smell that Spider-Man is close as well. So we cut across the street, away from Matt Murdock, and we see Peter is walking with Aunt May and Mr. Popchick, and Mr. Popchick is pissed right now because the judge let those thugs off. They robbed him, they let him, and then the judge just let him go. So they basically got a slap on the wrist.
Peter should have took their money.
Yeah.
Or the money when he beat him up.
Give me that money back, bitch. snatch it from him, go back, give it back to Mr. Popchick.
Minus $20.
Yeah.
Because you Black Suit Peter now.
I'm going to hold on to this. Here's the rest of your money. Then he'd have a beef with Spider-Man. So, yeah, he's pissed because they got a slap on the wrist. Not even a few steps after we run into these guys, Peter's spider sense start going off, and Sin Eater is walking down the street with his shotgun, and he's just yelling at everyone. He says, you all have nothing to worry about. I'm only here to take out people who have misused their power. Peter runs off like he always does, and he leaves Aunt May and Mr. Popchick to go change. And when he gets face to face with Sin Eater, he says, just please put the gun down. And Sin Eater says, I'll put you down before I put the gun down. And he shoots at him. And Spider-Man is quick enough to jump out of the way, but the handful of people standing behind Spider-Man
I was thinking that.
aren't quick enough to get out of the way.
Yeah, as a super... like, if someone has a gun and you're just like, you're on like same level as them and everything, mm-hmm. You kind of have to think about these things. Like, I shouldn't have him shoot at me and jump out the way because there's still people behind me.
You live in New York City, one of probably, if not the busiest, one of the busiest places in the world, and you just ran up on a man with a sawed-off shotgun in a huge crowd of people, and he said he's gonna kill people that have been misusing their power. He just killed a judge. You know, like.
Or you at least should have webbed the gun out of his hands.
Yeah.
Or web his hands or something. You fought plenty of people with guns before.
Yeah. You know what to do here. I don't know why you thought... Like, I mean, it's a shotgun, right? So, like, the bullets are going to blast out in, like, a wide form anyway. So, there's a chance somebody gets hit even if Spider-Man takes the brunt of it. But you avoided all of them. Like, every bullet.
Or... I don't know. Continue, because we're going to nitpick.
So, yeah, the people standing behind Spider-Man weren't quick enough to get out of the way. Spider-Man doesn't have time to help the civilians, so he chases after Sin Eater. He catches him, but his reflexes are a little off after realizing that all those people got shot. He's just kind of thrown off his game. So Sin Eater takes advantage of that. He cracks him in the head with the barrel of the shotgun, thinking, that's it. Spider-Man's laying out on the ground. I'm good. But Spider-Man is able to get up from it, and he gets to his feet. He gets his feet under him, and then he just starts going to town on Sin Eater. He jumps on top of him and just starts beating the shit out of him. He's not pulling his punches like he normally does. So with Sin Eater on the ground, Spider-Man sees that... Sin Eater has a gavel in one pocket and a badge in the other. And he puts two and two together, and he realizes that he's the guy who also killed Jean DeWolff. So Spider-Man asks him, did you kill Captain DeWolff? And Sin Eater says, yeah. He says, I killed the judge too, and I'm going to kill you next. Then...
It's kind of...
He's not playing around. Yeah. And then quickly, Sin Eater jams Spider-Man in the head with the barrel of the gun again. Oh, sorry, no. Spider-Man took the shotgun this time, and he jams Sin Eater in the head with the barrel of the gun. And then just continues to beat the shit out of him. So now Sin Eater, knowing he's got Spider-Man in a bad spot, screams, the Sin Eater has brought blood to another sinner, praise the Lord. He just screams that at the top of his lungs. I don't know what he thought that was going to do. But Spider-Man hops up, and he socks the shit out of Sin Eater again, and he socks him clear across the street. And then when the crowd parts, he sees Aunt May lying on the ground, which is never good. So Sin Eater starts running away, and Spider-Man tries webbing him up, but his web shooters are jammed. He throws a spider tracer at Sin Eater, but Sin Eater just grabs it off and just throws it on the ground. So Spider-Man he quickly runs to go change again, comes back out as Peter.
Wait, he's wearing the black suit right now?
Yeah.
I guess that was like retconned or something, but can't he just turn into anything he wants?
Well, I think he just ran off to hide so he could do it and then just go back. So yeah, now Peter runs back to Aunt May to check on her, and she says, "Oh, she's like, I'm fine. I just got a little trampled in all of the crowd mess, but I'm okay." So Mr. Popchick, Aunt May, and Peter head home, and then seconds later, Daredevil finally shows up looking for a fight, but he's too late. Sin Eater's already took off. He took too long trying to find a place to change. And then later on in the day, Spider-Man heads over to the office of Detective Carter, and he tells him Sin Eater is your guy, and I know that he killed Jean and the Judge. So, sorry. Yeah, no, I said it already. Spider-Man and the Captain are both a little on edge at this moment, so they're really snippy with each other. They're just being really back and forth. Yeah, whatever, cool, back and forth. And then Spider-Man asks if he can go look around Jean's apartment, and Captain Carter's like, "No, like, what do you mean?" And he's like, can't just let you walk in, but if you happen to find a way in on your own when no one is looking, then you could possibly get in and see whatever you want to see." Spider-Man puts two and two together, figures out what's going on, and he's like, "Yeah, okay, I won't go over there."
Why wouldn't you just do that in the first place? Like,
Why
why are you asking for permission?
Like, cool, they have it blocked off. They have the window blocked off too.
You're Spider-Man.
You
can
crawl
literally...
on walls. I've seen video of you just walking like a normal person up the side of a wall. Like,
Hey,
just go.
can I do this thing? No? Oh, okay.
Oh, okay. Yeah, you're gonna all of a sudden start listening to the cops.
You defy the laws of physics. I'm pretty sure the regular laws aren't going to be anything
Just
for
go.
you.
So yeah, the cop tells him, "I'm not letting you in there, but if you happen to make your way in, by all means, go." So across town, in the church that the same man from the other day was in, that same guy is back to confess his sins. Again, we cut away to Spider-Man, and now he gets to Jean's apartment, and he's praying he finds anything at this point. After 10 minutes of looking, he's still having no luck. He starts going through her drawers, and he finds... I'm telling you. And he finds pictures of her parents and this envelope. And the envelope is just like stuffed with newspaper clips of Spider-Man. So he's slowly starting to realize that she actually... she cared for Spider-Man. I can't remember if later on in the story they get to it or not, but they don't explicitly say whether it was like a crush kind of thing or she was just really just cared for him as a person. But she kept every clip that she found in the newspaper, she kept it.
I mean, how could it not be a crush? Have you seen that butt in that suit? Man.
That boy was thick. So yeah, he's slowly starting to realize that she actually cared for him, even though she was usually pretty cold towards him. The next day, we see Peter at Jean's funeral, and at the same time, we see Matt at Judge Rosenthal's funeral. They're at the same time, same cemetery, and then while they're there, Matt can sense Sin Eater's heartbeat, but because there's so many people there, he can't tell who is who. As everyone drives away, he tries to yell that Sin Eater is here, but nobody bats an eye.
Everyone's already driving
Everybody's
away.
walking away, and Matt just screams out, "Sin Eater's here!" He's here!
No one even knows that name yet.
Like, nobody knows who that is. And then on top of that, like, everybody's probably just looking at you like you're just grief-struck because one of your good friends died.
Like, oh man, this guy's blind and he's crazy.
He's losing it. We should check in on him later on. Why'd you do that? So, yeah, everybody just keeps walking like they didn't hear anything. And then we cut back to the church, and now we see Sin Eater is in the confession booth, and he's asking the pastor for advice. And the pastor tells him, you always have to do what's right, even if it costs you other things in your life. So Sin Eater says, "Thank you." And then he cocks his shotgun back, and he shoots the pastor dead in the confession booth.
Damn. This guy's on a rampage.
Yeah. And that was the end of that part. So the next part, the news states that Reverend Bernard Finn was known for being outspoken on prison reform. Authorities believe he was a target due to his concern for criminals, the same as Judge Rosenthal, who had just been previously killed. They also report that one of the people who was shot when Spider-Man dodged those bullets has died as well.
That was not a sinful person.
It was an innocent person who just died because of, in a way, because of Spider-Man.
Yeah.
I don't know, man. Superheroes are, what are
I
you
mean,
gonna do?
Would his suit have eaten the bullets?
I don't think so. Like I said, it's a shotgun. They're shooting out at a wide range.
Well, I mean, if he would have took the shot.
Yeah, but still not all of them. It might have saved a few people, but some people are getting hit.
I guess it depends on how close he was to the gun.
Yeah.
Because if he's this close.
Yeah, if he had it right here, yeah, we're sitting maybe 5 feet between us, then maybe one or two little things go out.
Yeah.
But if he had it in his chest, he could have took that.
Yeah.
I mean, you're here for the people. You got to sacrifice, man.
The Punisher would have took it.
Punisher would have put the barrel of the shotgun in his chest and told him to shoot. Come on, bring it closer, buddy.
You limp dick.
So yeah, one of the people that was behind Spider-Man has died. So now at this point, Spider-Man, Peter Parker, at this point, they're down in the dumps because they're dealing with the same kind of conundrum that he's always dealt with. When I wear the suit, people die. If I don't wear the suit, people are probably going to die. So we cut over to that guy, Reverend Tolliver, who wanted to see Robbie earlier in the story. He's on the news asking New York to please take Reverend Finn's case seriously. Reverend Finn is the one who just died. Reverend Tolliver is asking New York to take his case seriously, and he's skeptical that the NYPD would take it seriously because of how they've previously treated black victims before. So the news also says that there has been a string of burglaries recently, and an accused drug dealer just got released due to lack of evidence.
I have a feeling someone else is going to die.
So we cut again across town, and there's a little girl. She's sleeping when someone knocks on her window, which is creepy enough. When she wakes up, some man is just staring at her, and when the light shines on his face, it's a man dressed as Santa. This is not a Christmas Story, just so everybody knows. And the girl's excited, and he asks her to open up the window for him because he's still on the other side of the window. So she's excited. She sees Santa Claus. He's like, "Oh, can you open up the window for me?" So she does, and then it cuts away. So across town, Spider-Man drops in on Wilson Fisk, and he's looking for information on Sin Eater the same way Daredevil had been there a few minutes before. They didn't show us that part, but Daredevil was just there. And then Kingpin says, "I don't have anything for you. I didn't like Jean DeWolff, and I didn't like Rosenthal, but someone who kills a priest is someone I would never work with." Mm-hmm. And he's just tells Spider-Man, "Just get out of here. I don't have anything for you." So Daredevil decides that he's not making any headway as Daredevil, so he decides to start asking questions as Matt Murdock. The blind lawyer. Now is not the time to play.
I didn't do that.
Who was it?
Jean DeWolff. Her spirit resides with us.
Stop telling my story. So now Matt Murdock's first stop is a rough and tumble bar down the street full of criminals and roughnecks. And as soon as he starts asking questions, they immediately jump him. But being who he is, he ends up beating everyone's ass. The last person he grabs, he's ready to throw through the window, and the barkeep screams. She's like begging, "Please, don't, just drop him. Don't throw him through that window, please." So
Don't through this window.
So
that one's brand new.
So he picks him up and he just body slams him through a table. and everyone is still just standing there, and they're like, "We don't know anything about Sin Eater, but if you catch him, give him a good one for us, because we don't like him either." And when Matt leaves, the barkeep is like, "Oh, thank God, he didn't break the window." And then 2 seconds later, Spider-Man comes kicking through the window from the outside.
God damn it.
He just says, "Screw the door," comes straight through the window, and he starts beating everybody's ass in there again. And he wants information on Sin Eater. So, a few days later, Spider-Man calls Detective Carter to let him know, I haven't gotten anywhere with anything, but I may have an idea. So he heads to the house of the man he heads to the house of one of the thugs who just beat the guy that they were talking about in the news that just beat the drug charge.
Mm.
So he heads over to that guy's house and he kidnaps that guy from his house. Spider-Man does. And he takes him to this diner that all these hired criminals hang out at. Like, it's nothing but criminal people in there. So he takes this guy, the guy that just beat the drug charge, to that diner. And that's how I know he's Black Suit Spider-Man, because he takes him there, and then, well, he just sits there in full Spider-Man suit. And he makes it seem like him and this guy are like best friends. Like, he's laughing over the top. He's super over with it. And he's trying to make it seem like the two of them are just like best friends. And the drug dealer says, like, "I don't know anything about Sin Eater. I don't know that guy." And he's like, "But if you get me out of here alive, I'll tell the cops everything that I do know." So Spider-Man was like, "Yeah, okay, whatever." And then dips out on the guy. And the guy's like, "What? No, wait, you have to take me with you." And then he finally takes him out. So the next day at the Daily Bugle, Peter and everyone else is there except for J. Jonah Jameson. And lo and behold, Sin Eater kicks in the door looking for Jonah. And he says, "If you don't get him here ASAP, this woman's going to die." And I believe he took Betty Brant. And she just has her in like a headlock. And he's like, "If you don't get Jonah here, she's going to die in his place." So, sorry, it wasn't, I wrote it in my notes. I don't know why I didn't go further. It wasn't Betty, it was Marla, which is Jonah's wife.
Ah.
So Robbie acts like he's Jonah in order to save Marla, because Sin Eater doesn't actually know what Jonah looks like. He just knows the name. So he's like, "Oh, no, I'm Jonah. I'm right here." He's like, "Just take me." Peter thinks quick, and he takes apart the cartridge from the printer that's right behind him. He takes the roll from the printer and just chucks it as hard as with his Spider-Man strength, chucks it as hard as he can, and then he yells at Robbie to duck. So Robbie ducks, and it hits Sin Eater right in the head, and it knocks him out. But secretly, he's worried that because he went down a lot. Secretly, Peter's worried because Sin Eater went down a lot easier than he thought he would, especially considering Sin Eater was whooping his ass the other day. And then when they pull off the mask, we find out that it is the first man we saw going into the confession booth. When we saw Sin Eater go into the confession booth to kill the priest, he went in his full, like, he has a mask on. He almost looks like, I believe he looks kind of like the Riddler in the Batman.
Okay.
So, like, kind of like a full mask and everything.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
This is what he looks like.
So, yeah, when they pull off his mask, we see that it's the original guy that went into the confession booth. And, so they keep calling him Mr. Gregg. So while being interrogated, he says the voices that are in his head told him to do it. He doesn't remember doing the killings, but he must have done it. He doesn't remember killing any of those people, but if you're saying he did it, then he did it. Then all of a sudden, Daredevil walks in wanting to be a part of the interrogation too. And then after listening to, and mind you, this is Daredevil in costume. He walked in and was just like, "I need to be a part of this interrogation."
I'm glad they're on the same page now, because Can you imagine a world where like they're just a bunch of superheroes and they're not communicating with each other?
Yeah.
And one shows up at a place to get information, leaves, and then another one shows up 10 minutes later.
Yeah.
To do the same
To
thing.
beat the same shit out of the same people.
They just keep coming.
At one point, yeah, you just gotta be like afraid to leave your house. So yeah, they keep going to Mr. Greg. Daredevil shows up because he wants to be a part of the interrogation as well. After listening to Daredevil, after listening in, Daredevil pulls Spider-Man to the side to talk. Daredevil tells him this guy is not our guy. I promise you, this isn't our guy. Spider-Man asks Daredevil, he's like, "Are you losing your mind here?" He knows details that no one else knows. He has the gun that was used on Peter, and he's confessing to everything. So what are you talking about? And Daredevil doesn't know how to tell Spider-Man that he can tell who people are by their heartbeat.
How do you not know how to tell somebody that?
I don't know.
You just say, "Hey, my powers allow me to determine if people
It's
are
pretty
lying
simple.
and
Yeah.
who they are."
If Matt Murdock told me that, then yeah, maybe I might not believe it. But if Daredevil tells me that, okay, cool. Then who the
That
fuck?
makes sense.
Then let's keep him here for now, and then let's go find the guy together. But no, you got to make it a lot more difficult for everybody. So the two of them go to Mr. Greg's place, and they search for clues, and they start talking about how the drug dealer turned himself in, and the drug dealer was the guy Spider-Man took to the diner. He turned himself in, and Daredevil is pretty pissed about it because Spider-Man could have gotten that guy killed, and he had no care in the world about it. And after some more snooping around Mr. Greg's place, they see a door that connects to adjoining apartments like hotels do, and the lock on the door has been busted. So when they search the room, when they open that door, they see a closet that looks kind of messy. So Daredevil checks the closet, and all of Sin Eater's things are there. The green mask, the guns, and a recorder that he was using as a diary. So after some more snooping, Spider-Man sees there's a bill on the table, and the name on it makes Spider-Man's jaw drop because the name on it is Stan Carter, aka Detective Carter, the lead detective on Jean DeWolff's case.
Dun dun dun.
And then we find out that the voices in Mr. Greg's head were actually Detective Carter recording his own audio diary.
Whoa.
And then on the gun rack, we see that there's still one gun unaccounted for, and they know that Jonah is still in Florida. So the next logical guess is that he's going to kill whoever is at Jonah's house.
Mm.
They thought they originally had Sin Eater. Now they know that they don't. So now the next logical place for him to go is for Jonah's house.
Heavy stuff.
Yeah. So Spider-Man rushes to call the Daily Bugle, and he gets the Jameson resident's phone number to check on Marla at the house because after the whole situation at the Bugle, Marla and Betty Brant went back to Jonah's house so they could just kind of stay together.
What was she doing there in the first place?
She works there.
Oh.
Yeah. And Betty is with Ned at this point. So Ned and Jonah are in Florida together working on the story.
Okay.
So Betty and Marla were like, let's just go back to your place. We'll stay there together so we both feel comfortable. And when Spider-Man calls the Jameson residence, Betty picks up, and she's interrupted with a shotgun to the face. With Peter on the other end of the line screaming, "Get out of the house." And while Peter is mid-sentence, a gunshot goes off. The phone drops to the ground, and in the panel, we see a hole blasted through the chair where Betty was sitting. And then that was the end of that story.
Oh, I think that was one of the pictures I just seen on Google.
Now, Spider-Man and Daredevil are on their way to the Jameson residence, moving at God's speed, and Peter starts to reminisce over his time with Betty and how she was the first girl he ever loved. But him becoming Spider-Man forced the wedge between them, and then drove her into Ned Leeds' arms. Luckily, we see that she isn't dead. She was able to dodge the shot by hiding under the desk, but Sin Eater grabs her from under the desk and tells her, I'm going to leave you with a message that you can deliver to Jonah in the afterlife.
Damn. This dude is ruthless, just over here just blasting people.
He's not fucking around. He said he came to kill.
And that's what he's doing.
Mm-hmm. So he throws her on the table and he starts to choke her with his shotgun. He tells her, I want to kill J. Jonah Jameson because he's against masked vigilantes. I killed the priest because he was against capital punishment, the judge because he coddled criminals, and I killed Jean DeWolff because I felt like it. And just then, Betty is able to grab a letter opener out of the drawer, and she stabs him in the leg, and to my surprise, he calls her a slut after that. I was thoroughly surprised when I saw that. She stabbed him in the leg, and he was like, you slut. Like, you guys put this here? Now I know why so many of that generation are just so easily throwing that word out. So, just then Spider-Man comes blasting through the window because he does not use doors. Sin Eater tells him to take Betty and go, but Spider-Man isn't playing the games anymore. He snatches the shotgun, he just breaks it in half. Sin Eater tells Spider-Man, listen, dude, we're both the same person here. We both deal with justice how we see fit. And Spider-Man is like, God, no. That's not what's going on here. You've been leaving a trail of bodies behind you. We're not the same person. And Spider-Man finally gets him down and he takes the mask off of Sin Eater. And Carter says, Detective Carter is obviously staring right back at him. And he says, I'm sorry. After he says, I'm sorry, that seems to be like a real trigger for Spider-Man. I don't know why that triggered him so much. But when he says sorry, he smacks the ever-loving shit out of Carter so many times. Like, he had some shit to get off his chest with those slaps. And finally, Daredevil shows up. And he tells Spider-Man, like, back off. He's done. He's not going anywhere. Spider-Man says, I'm not done until he's dead. And Daredevil says, if you want him dead, you're going to have to fight through me first.
Ooh.
So Spider-Man kicks him out of the window. And he says, I told you to stay out of this. And he chases Daredevil down the street. Daredevil realizes that Spider-Man is getting kind of sloppy because of his anger. And he slows down to let him catch him. And then he gives Spider-Man a couple good ones to the gut. And Daredevil is doing everything he can to keep Spider-Man pissed off for as long as possible so that he can so Daredevil keeps having that opportunity to whoop his ass. And so Daredevil starts getting some punches in it. They specify that he hits him with the 12 hardest punches that he could muster up. And he finally knocks Spider-Man out and he leaves him in a tree to rest. Back at the Jameson residence, Stan Carter has finally been arrested, and a news crew is in Betty's face asking her how she feels to be alive. Across the city, everyone is...
How's it feel to not have bullets in you?
How does it feel to have a shotgun in your face and then still be alive? Huh?
That's something I never want to go through, and I feel like it'd be traumatic, but how do you feel?
Yeah. I know that you're probably in shambles right now, but it must feel really great to be alive, right? So across the city, everyone is getting the news that the serial killer was on the loose. That the serial killer that was on the loose was actually a cop. The next day, Peter is at the Daily Bugle, and he runs into J. Jonah Jameson pissed off as usual. And he asks Peter, what the hell's been going on? Because he just got in, and he hasn't seen or heard any of what's happened at all. Doesn't know what happened with his wife. Nothing. So Peter tells him and Ned that Sin Eater came looking to kill you, but it wasn't actually him. So the real one went to your house, and Betty was there too, so Sin Eater tried to kill both of them. But Spider-Man saved the day, so now I guess you guys owe Spider-Man a debt that you'll never really be able to pay back. And both of their jaws drop, and then the elevator door closes, and they just like stare at each other. So when Peter finally reaches the office, the receptionist says she has a message for him, and he calls on May. She's worried because Mr. Popchick saw the news about Detective Carter, and he's been very upset, and he took his old army revolver out of storage, and everyone in the house is very concerned about what's going to happen. Peter tells her he's coming to check on them, but when he's trying to leave, Robbie says, "Oh, I have another job for you. It's busy work, but I need you to go." So he's like, "Well, okay, whatever, fine, I'll go." And then we cut to Mr. Popchick on the subway heading to the World Trade Center. And he says, "I'm not afraid of anyone anymore. I'm not going to take mess from anyone ever again." And I felt just like him heading to the World Trade Center saying stuff like that. In hindsight, probably isn't a good thing for you to do. Just stay away from there. So he says he's not going to take shit from anyone ever again. And then right before his stop, these thugs on the subway walk up to him, or they call it subway out there?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. These thugs on the subway walk up to him and they say, "Just give us all the money that you have on you. I don't care how much it is, just give it to me." And Mr. Popchick he says, "Oh, I don't have any money on me. The only thing I have on me is this." And he pulls out the revolver and he says, "I'm happy to share this with you guys if you want." And he shoots all three of them. And he shoots all three of them and then just gets off on the stop and just walks off. He was ready to kill.
This man has nothing else to live for.
No. So across town, we hear that Carter is going to be taken to Rikers later that day. In the new captain's office, he's talking to a few of the higher ups, and they're saying that there's a small chance that Carter goes free after all of this, as he was previously part of an experiment on the research of what drugs like PCP and angel dust do to the body, and if they can be used safely. Those drugs can make people incredibly strong, and it can also make people addicts. So when they closed the program, Stan Carter lost his shit, and for some reason was still allowed to be on the police force.
Yeah, like, was this the police conducting these experiments?
Just him and his friends in a room. Hey, we gotta try this shit, man. What do you mean we don't have any more?
Yeah, I think it's a very like loose string to follow on terms of like.
I don't think you guys should just let him go because he was trying PCP. I think there's even more reason to lock his ass up. So outside of the police station now, there's a riot starting.
I'm sorry, it was like you're in court and it's like, Your Honor, my client did PCP.
This man was on PCP for 2 months. I don't know what you think that he is not sane.
He's not suited for prison.
You think he did that on his own volition? No, this man was on PCP and angel dust. You gotta let him go. Your Honor, you must have quit. I'm sorry.
This man.
He is hurt. He hasn't had PCP in 2 months now. Ever since the killing started.
Ever since he killed those 6 people.
Ever since he put that mask on and he started killing people, he hasn't been the same. And it's all because he hasn't had PCP in his life. The judge is like, dun, dun. Put him in. Just lock him up.
Are you his lawyer?
No, Your Honor. My name is Johnny.
I sell him the PCP.
And this is my best friend, Stan Carter. And I will not allow you to put him in jail for this. He does not deserve it. So outside of the police station, there's a riot starting. And now they're throwing bricks through windows into the police station. So you know that they have to be white because they would not let people of any kind of color do stuff like this. But the police need to get Carter to Rikers ASAP. So staring down from the roof of the building, Spider-Man is up there. Daredevil shows up as well. While they bicker back and forth about their fight the day before, the cops come out in riot gear trying to quell the crowd while Stan Carter is brought out of the back of the building. The crowd creeps around the back of the building and sees Carter's being put in the armored truck, and they start racing towards the truck. And Daredevil tries to stop all the people from getting to Stan Carter, but they end up jumping Daredevil too. And while he's down there, he screams for Spider-Man's help, but Spider-Man isn't budging because he's pissed about the day before. And then Daredevil keeps calling for his help, and he finally instead of saying Spider-Man, he's Spider-Man, help, Spider-Man. And he realizes Spider-Man isn't budging. Finally, he says, Peter, help me. And then that's what sparks Spider-Man to finally go down there and help him. And he jumps down, he helps Daredevil, and unfortunately, he also saves Stan Carter from being killed by the mob as well. And he stops Jean DeWolff's stepdad, who was also in that crowd, who was actually choking Carter out. Like, he caught up to him and he was trying to kill this man, but Spider-Man had to stop him. After they get Carter in the truck, the crowd just kind of disappears, and Daredevil and Spider-Man make it back to the roof. Spider-Man asks him, how did you know my name was Peter? And Daredevil says, don't worry about it. I won't tell anyone. If you won't tell anyone, I won't tell anyone. And also, my name is Matt Murdock. So now they both know each other's secret identities. And they go back to Peter's place to rest and kind of talk some more about how they both came to be who they are. And that's when Aunt May calls and tells Peter that Mr. Popchick shot those three guys. And then Matt overhears the conversation, and he says to Aunt May, Mrs. Parker, don't worry. I have a lawyer for Mr. Popchick, free of charge. Don't worry about it. We'll help him.
How does this man live? He does all this pro bono work.
I don't know.
Pro bono.
So he says that, yeah, we have a lawyer for you, free of charge. We'll help him. And that was the end of the story. And that was the death of Jean DeWolff. Wow.
Sin Eater sounds like a badass.
Yeah. He wasn't.
Even more than, like, his Spider-Man's other villains. Yeah. Because, like, they're all, oh, I'm just trying to get revenge, or I'm just trying to take over the world. This is just a guy with a shotgun.
A guy with a shotgun who just doesn't like the fact that people just keep getting off. And just letting, this judge is letting criminals off with a slap on the wrist. Yeah. I mean, he just killed Jean just for the hell of it.
Yeah, that seems a little weird.
Yeah.
But still.
But I'm assuming it was probably also, too, because he was a cop. And he probably knew that if he killed her, he'd move up. But he killed the priest because the priest was against, I forgot what it said, corporal punishment or something like that. He was going to just kill Jonah because Jonah was against mass vigilantes. So it's like, this man had like a real world gripe. Yeah. And was just sick of it.
And all the PCP he took.
Yeah, that was a big factor in it that they didn't get to till the very end. That'll do a lot of things to you. So, yeah, I really liked it. That was, like, out of all the stories that we've read so far, that was honestly my favorite one.
Yeah, I liked it too.
It was really good.
It kept me enticed.
Yeah. And I think we said in the beginning, like, I had no idea who Jean DeWolff was before I read the story.
Is this the Amazing Spider-Man or just the Sensational Spider-Man?
Spectacular Spider-Man? Let me double check on that. Yeah, the Spectacular Spider-Man 107 through 110.
Oh, so it was fairly short too.
Yeah. 4-part story. October 1985 to January 1986. Author, writer, Peter David. It was so good. Very, very good. It's not even a question. I
said forget about it, cuz.
Oh, I keep pressing the wrong button. I gotta label these motherfuckers. It was a great story. It gets one of these. 2 for good measure.
I'll give it one of them.
Really got to. And you know what? I'm gonna give what's the writer's name again? Peter David. I gotta give him one of these bad boys too. That boy went off on this story. The Spectacular Spider-Man.
I'm looking at this panel where it was thought that he shot Betty.
Yeah.
But I'm like, if she fell under the desk and like was hiding under there, why do you still shoot? Like, the chair's in the desk. She would have had to scoot the chair back and then go.
Yeah.
Like, you saw.
Is she Spider-Man? Where did her reflexes come from? Because she had to, like you said, she would have had to go through a lot to just duck under that and then get under there. So either she has crazy reflexes or he shot that to send a message.
Yeah.
But then after that, he tried to choke her out with the barrel of the shotgun.
Yeah.
So I'm assuming that he was just trying to send a message. And I'm still shook that he called her a slut, too.
She should have stabbed him, like, right here.
Yeah.
He stabbed someone in, like, the rib cage.
Like, if...
It's done for.
Like, yeah, you can get some leverage. You just
she's
like here. But if you, like, you already have it in your hand, just come up and just, bam, right there under his armpit or something.
Yeah. It's under the armpit, right?
Yeah. But it took him out. Yeah, that was a great story. I liked it because it was, like, that was, like, the first story that we've read that wasn't, like, it wasn't really, it was superhero based because they were there. Mm-hmm. Spider-Man and Daredevil were there. But it wasn't, like, it felt like a real world story. Like, it felt like what could have happened in real life if superheroes were a real thing.
With just a guy and a gun and...
Yeah.
Yeah. I can see that.
You're killing people's family members, friends. Like, it's a little different when a 7-foot lizard is that just grew his second arm back is chasing you down. But, like, when it's just a suicidal serial killer with a shotgun, or not a homicidal serial killer with a shotgun just chasing people down for his own justice. Mm. Like, that's nuts.
Yeah, I liked it. It was like you said, it was like a real world thing. Mm-hmm. I also like that it's Spider-Man in his black suit, and this is the first time we've got to like read something like that is just him, rather than him in like the team setting. We actually get to see like how it's affecting him and the other side of him. So yeah, I give it a house explosion.
Here's another one.
I like that it's just an explosion sound, but we keep calling it a house explosion.
Yeah. It was a stamp of approval when we first started, like 2 months ago. And now it's just like, blow up the house. I don't know how that shows approval of anything. But fuck it. We're already here. It's too late. All right, guys. That has been another episode of Webheads Down. Again, thanks for listening. Thanks for coming back again this week. If this is your first one, I think this is a hell of a start for the first one for you to listen to.
Yeah.
Give us a rating on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. If you have friends or family that are into any of this stuff, send it their way. Tell them to give it a listen. Do not let your kids listen right now, unless you're okay with them hearing curse words. Because I'm not editing that shit out. I'm not. Unless we get a deal from somebody, then I'll start editing it out. But until that comes around, I'm sorry, guys. I can't do it. Sorry, Josh tomorrow. Can't let it happen.
It's Disney parks. He has no say in it anyways.
Yeah, sorry. He might be able to put a word in for us. So my boy Josh, come on, please. But yeah, thanks for listening again. We will be back again next week and the week after that. We'll talk to you later. Peace.
Bye.